Hello everyone, this is Johannes.
And this is Sunma.
And you are watching Board Gaming Ramblings.
And today we are taking a look at Hadrian's Wall.
This is a game designed by Bobby Hill, published by Garfield Games and Renegade Game Studios.
It plays from 1 to 6 players in about 60 minutes.
It does, so this is a roll and write game. This is like a huge sprawling roll and write game, and usually we do not tend to overly enjoy roll and write games. If you have seen Keeper Call so far, if you haven't, go and watch. There's only like 25 episodes to watch. If you have seen that and you've seen like, I think we have killed every single roll and write except for like 2 so far. And it's not a genre that we are usually super dragged to.
No, but this time we were promised a more like meteor roll and write, so I'm excited to see how this goes.
You already know because we have played the game. Know. It's not like now we're gonna stop it and we're gonna go and play the game.
I don't know what your rating's gonna be. Very excited for that, yes.
So yes, Hadrian's Wall, I did not pre-order it. I'm saying I because you're never in the pre-order process anyways. I didn't pre-order this because it was like a roll and write game. And I have like kind of, I'm a bit unsure about those, but I heard some good things and I saw a copy and I was like, I would like to play it, and we did play it. So let's talk about
the story of
what
our
you
lives.
do in the game. You don't roll any dice because it's not a roll and write, it's a and write game. So it's a really strange version of a roll and write game because you have this page. Oh wait, you also have this page. So you have like 2 huge pages of loads and loads of just like boxes and tracks and tracks. If you don't like tracks, you're not gonna like this game because there's so many tracks. And there's like so many tracks with different special abilities and special things they do. So there's quite a bit of things to get into in this game. But the thing you basically do in the game is that you have resources. They're not usually in a bag because it would be really hard to use them, but you have different colored meeples and you have stone, and you're spending those resources to tick off something on a box, and most of the time when you tick off something you get something else. So you want to try to combo things so that you spend the resources you start with. Everybody starts with kind of like the same resources, and you can get some bonuses from different tracks that you have already tracked on. And then you get to spend those resources to then try to get more resources so you can continue and doing more and more and more throughout the round. And you can do that 6 times to score points on the sheets. You can also score points on different scoring cards. And at the end of the game, of course, the player with the most points is the winner. Before we go into anything else here, we're going to talk a bit about the rulebook because I had actually some trouble learning this game. Because there's 24 pages of rules for a roll and write game. And I should say I tried to read this at work, so I was kind of like focusing on 2 things at once. But I needed like 2-3 times to understand everything going on. Might just be me being stupid, but usually I get a good grasp of rules. I think for me, it was kind of fatiguing because there was so many things. I was like, okay, now we have to get to the end of this, and then it's like, and now we have to explain that was only half of it, and now we're going to explain this, which are more actually intricate, and more, these tracks have different rules, and now they do different things, and there's so many things in this rulebook. So know that there's a lot to read in this book. I've never seen, and hopefully we'll never see again, a 24-page rulebook for a game where you cross off things on a track.
But did you need like 24? Could this be done simpler? Because there's a lot of stuff in this game though.
I don't think it could have been because it's well explained. Like it's Garfield Games is not known for having like the best rulebooks. And for example in Viscounts we had to guess what symbols meant because there was not like an understanding of the symbols. So this is a better rulebook because it does explain everything I wanted to know. There was nothing that was unclear after I had gotten it into my brain. Okay, yeah. So I would say that the rulebook is pretty good. It just know that there's a lot when you get into this game. Let's talk about artwork and components.
Components wise, you get what you kind of ask for. You get a lot of sheets, and you get some standard quality cards.
Actually quite a good quality.
Yeah, okay, and you get meeples and some brick components. Very standard, very roll and write Yes. I think it's nice to have some tactile elements with the meeples because everything else is so abstract with just crossing off. So something is very good to have like physical forms of. Yes.
And the art is by Sam Phillips. who has done like Raiders of Scythia and I think Circadians.
Yeah, I like his artwork a lot.
It's basically Garfield using the Micro and using Sam Phillips. That's basically the two artists they use.
Two people.
I tend to like this actually better than the other one, but I do like the artwork here quite a bit.
Yes, I agree.
So we have played this 2 and 3 players. Let's talk about that later. Why you would ever play with more. And it takes like about an hour with 2 players. About the first time we played it was like 1.5 hours. But I think you can get it like the box says 60 minutes. Really depending on how quick a player is playing, because even if I'm done, I have to wait until everybody else is done. So sometimes I'm done and somebody else spends 5 more minutes, depending on how fast you because you can, and we can talk about this here, because you can end up like APing a lot if you want to in this game, because there are 16 billion different possibilities, and if you want to like plan out your whole possibilities before you start doing things, then you're gonna spend a long time playing the game, and you're gonna have people sitting and waiting for you for 10 minutes. So I would say that 1, 2 players we have played, or 2, 3 players, not 1, 2, 2 and 3 players, because there's no interaction in the game. Like literally 1% maybe interaction from, I would say maybe 0.1% interaction, because there's really no interaction. There might be somebody flipping a card before you're flipping that card and getting a resource. That is basically the only interaction in the game. Everything happens simultaneously, so I have no idea what you're doing, I have no idea what anybody's doing, so I wouldn't, like, there's no reason to play this with more than 2 or 3 people. Like we play.
It's very multiple player solitary.
It's 100% multiplayer solitary.
Yeah. The only interaction, as I say, is that when I'm choosing, because you're choosing your own final scoring, and the card that I don't choose for my scoring, I get resources from. But then it also dictates what some things that you can get from me. And then in order to get that, I get a reward from you. But when you're playing with fewer players, like 2 players and 1 player, you get like add a dummy card that gets you get a disadvantage for using that.
So I think this would be a very good solo game if you are a solo gamer. We do not play any games solo, but as 2-player game, I think it's fine. With 3, the more people you add, the more possibilities you have to have that player who plays slow. That's basically but other than that, it doesn't really change it.
No.
So if you enjoy the game and you just want to sit and do something together by yourself with 5 people, you can do that. But there's literally, and I don't mind multiplayer solitaires in games, but when you play simultaneously, I kind of lose even more of that connection, because let's say we play a game that I don't like, let's say we play another game that is almost all multiplayer solitaire. It's still your turn when it's your turn, so I can see what you're doing, and I'm engaging in what you're doing. But in this game, I'm literally only engaging in my own little puzzle and in my own optimization. So there's really no reason to play it with more players.
Yeah, and we're segueing a little bit into gameplay here, so just let's go for that.
Let's go for it.
In this game, it can be very overwhelming at first, because you have these 2 very detailed sheets, and there's a lot of possibilities, and there's a lot to keep track of. Literally.
There's a lot of tracks to keep track of,
and a lot of special abilities and restrictions for those specific tracks. That means also that it's very easy to cheat in this game. It's very easy to actually cheat. I don't know why you would want that, but it's very easy to do. But it's also very easy to make mistakes. And since it is a roll and write game and you're basically ticking off boxes, it's kind of hard to do many takebacks. Some you can easily manage, but if you're trying to do something and you realize a little bit later that you've done something wrong, it's like a snowballing effect, because making one mistake made you have some other possibilities available, and then you've done that, but then you realize that the first thing you did you couldn't do, and then the other thing, it just like cascades a little bit. And when you're doing this simultaneously and there's no player interaction and nobody's watching over each other, that can more easily happen. I think it's still, when you get into it, you're not going to make those mistakes. Those are kind of a beginner's mistake. And I think that for it to be a complex game, and this is, I think that is a price that I'm willing to pay.
Yeah, I think like the the first time I played, I tried to be more like, oh, what I want to do. And then the other times we played, I was more like just doing something, and not just doing something, but not doing that. Okay, if I do that, I get that. If I do that, I get that. I had some like in the beginning of, because the rounds can be pretty long. You can end up doing like 15, 20, 25 things in a round if you like get a lot of resources going. And if you try to plan for all of it, it's going to be a really boring game, I feel like. But for me, I'm like, okay, at this round, I want to do this and this and this. And then I see, okay, what resources do I have now? Okay, then I want to do, maybe I can do this then. And then I get these resources back and then I can use for that.
Yes.
So doing it like in batches for me worked really well. And that made it fun because I was like, oh, I'm getting this. Oh, can I squeeze out? But sometimes you get like, oh, I have one of these or two of these. I need one more of this color. Can I squeeze that out somewhere? Yes, over here. That's cool. So you get that. Everything isn't planned for, but there's so many tracks. So there's almost something good you can do.
Yeah, I agree.
So it doesn't really feel like on this page here you have different persons, and those are linked to different like tracks here. So you have to go higher up on this person's tracks to be able to use these other like special buildings. So you have to build them and then you have to use the special buildings basically. This other one is more tracks, just like moving up on the tracks. And I would say that I don't really know where I was going now. I kind of lost it, but I would say that it doesn't feel like a very strategic game.
No, there's I agree. There's some tactics involved as well, and you can also try to go for something, but then the universe gives you some other resources and you're trying to go in another direction. But I think it's cool that you can actually steer your final scoring. I think that is really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Like every round you draw 2 cards and they have final scorings on them, and you choose one that you want to try to do. And of course, like in these kind of games, in the end of the game you can draw 2 and one of them you have already completed. So you basically you just get points at the end of the game.
But it's not that random because that you're drawing all the cards.
That is
so true. I can basically in the starter game be like, oh, now I'm gonna focus on that.
If you have played a game before, or if you have read through the cards at the beginning,
of course.
Or if you remember them. I do not go through them at the beginning of the game.
You can get unlucky and have 2 things that you're focusing on get like the scoring cards on the same turn, so you can only pick one of them. But that is basically the only luck in those decisions, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's some other luck here and there with drawing, for example, the resources that you can get in some of the market buildings, but like the luck here is very minimal, I would say. Like and
also the attacks, but that is like risk reward, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But I think like as I said, I was trying to say that it's not that much of a strategy game. You are basically, you have this, you start off doing something, and then you continue doing that. It's a game of getting combos and trying to get the most combos possible.
Yes.
So basically, it feels kind of like Guns N' Clever on steroids. Because Guns N' Clever is that game where, oh, now I get that, so I can cross out that, and when I cross out that, I get this thing, so I can cross out this, and I get that. And that is what you do in this game all the time.
Yeah.
Like it feels to me like there's no dice, of course, but it feels to me it's that. It's that feeling of, oh, I cross this, then I get this 2 new resources, I can place them over here. Oh, finally I get to this space here, I get that, I can go over here, I finally get that, move over here, roll in there, fill that, boom, put it over, get it over, and then I catch the mouse at the end. It just falls down and catch the mouse. Yes. So that is, that is like the feeling when you play the game. So
it's just like a very satisfying optimization puzzle. As you said, we're not like heavy into roll and writes, and I also I have asked myself this question: could this be not a roll and write? And it probably could, but I think it's cool that they're actually trying to take mechanisms or like things that you would see like in a more heavy and a real board game, and trying to, okay, how can we make this into a roll and write?
I think actually, if I don't remember, sorry if I remember miscorrect or wrong, I think it started out as a game.
Oh, cool.
And then I found out like it's way easier to do this just on a sheet of paper because there's just so many tracks and so many different buildings and things. I think that was the case.
That is cool.
I might be wrong, but I think that was the case.
Yeah.
So we haven't even answered like, is the game fun? And I think we could do that like in a kind of like a final thoughts.
Yeah, let's do it.
Do you want to begin?
Yeah, I can begin. I was unsure if I would like this game.
Yes.
And also because like heavy and roll and write, I didn't see quite how those would match together, but I hoped it would be good.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it was good, but it works for me. I just find those moments when I'm converting resources to other resources and climbing on up on tracks and trying to reach those full potential on those tracks is very satisfying to me, and I have had a lot of fun the times we played it.
Yeah.
I think the final scoring cards add to some replayability, but other than that, you're basically kind of doing the same things every time. So I don't know like how replayable, like the replayability value is like super like rocket high for me, but all in all, I think it's a good game, so I'm going to rate it a 7.
Yeah. So yes, this game, there's no reason for this game to be this fun.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing in this game that says this is gonna be this fun. But it just is. Like, as I said, it's not a very deep game. It's not a very, like, there's a lot of things, but when you start playing, it's not very complex. There's not that much, like, of depth, but it's just so satisfying crossing out those boxes and getting them more resources and crossing out more boxes. And of course, you really you don't care what the other player's doing until you score the points at the end. So you're just like doing the best you can and say, oh, did I do better than you? Nope, I didn't, or yes, I did, woo, I won. So there is some there's so many things that, like, I think after you watch this review, you will know if you will enjoy this game or not. Because there's so many things here, speaking of reasons why I should not like the game, but it's just fun. If you like doing things by yourself, if you like Guns N' Clever but just want it to be on steroids and be crazy and have 16 billion more tracks, then this is a good choice. It's of course 24 pages of rules, a bit more going on, but it's just more fun than it should be. Like, I am having a blast when I play it, like trying to optimize these things by myself. This is a game I might find myself play solo. Like, it's just because it is almost a solo game when you play it with somebody, so I'm probably not going to happen. But if I were forced to sit down and play a solo game, or if I was just like, I want to play something and I haven't played something in a while, but it doesn't happen anymore. That was the only period in my life when I played solo games when you weren't living here. And I might sit down and play this because it is a very good, fun game. I'm going to give it a 7.5. I think it is a great, fun game. And if anything here intrigued you, go and check it out. If you have played it, let us know what the thoughts are in the comments. If you are still here and you have not subscribed and you enjoy what we do, then you can subscribe. It's free. You click that little subscribe button. It says subscribe, and you click it, it says subscribed. That means you have subscribed to the channel. You can also click the bell button, which gets you notifications every time we put out a new video. That means a lot as well. And yeah, that's the end of the video. Yes. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Johannes.
I'm Senwa.
And you've been watching Board Gaming Ramblings, and bye bye.